So S1, January 2013, question 6. I always try and smile at the start, relax. The masses of 800 apples are summarised in the histogram on the frequency density axis. 1 centimetre represents A units. Find the value of A. So 1 centimetre is there. I mean, this worked better, didn't it, on the smaller paper, because you've got the scale was done a little bit more nicely. So that's A on the axis. Remember, when we talk about frequency density, it's the area of the graph that relates to the frequency. So the key thing here, when we're told that we've got 800 apples, is that the total area that's shaded in there has to be equal to 800. Because that's supposed to do that. Because we had 800 apples in total. So we need to somehow work out the area of this. Well, if we look at the sections on here, this first bit has a width of 20, and it has a height. Well, if A is 1 centimetre, then that's 2/5 more than that. So that's 1.4 lots of A is that height. Does that make sense? So 20 times 1.4A is that first bit there. That's got that bit sorted. The next bit has a width of 10, and that height would be, it was easier for you to see this, but I think that one came out as being 3.4. That was 3 up there, and then we have 2/5 as well. So that's 3.4A. The next one, the width is 6, and that one has a height of 4.6, lots of A. The next one has a width of only 4, and that's a height of 2.6A. You see the height there would be 2.6, there would be 2. And then that one is 10, and we're multiplying that by, what would that be, 3A. And then the final one has a height of 1 and a width of 30. So that's 30 times A. All of that has to equal 800. And that's the key to this. So if we carefully work this out, this comes out as being 160 times A. All of that lot there, 20 times 1.4 plus 10 times 3.4 and so on. That's equal to 800. So A is 800 over 160. So A is 5. There we have it. It's quite neat. It's about using the area under the curve and working things out from there. Find an estimate of the median mass of the apples. Right, we've got 800 apples. So once we get a number that is that big, the median, we're just looking for the halfway point. So the median, if we do 800 divided by 2, that gives us 400. So we're looking for the 400th apple. Where did that occur? So we need to know something about the frequencies that we're in the groups as we go up. We can think about some kind of cumulative frequency here. The first group, which was 20 to 40, we wrote that down as being, that was 20 times 1.4 times A. That was the area of that class. So, and the area, remember, relates to the number of apples. So the number of apples is 20 times 1.4 times 5. And that is 140. So that first class represented 140 apples. The second class, which was 40 to 50, that represented 10 by 3.4 by 5. So that was 170 apples. That takes us past the 300 mark. That takes us to 310 apples so far. The next class, after that, the next class was of width 6. It was this class here. So 6 times 4.6 times A. That's the 50 to 56 class. 6 times 4.6 times 5. That's one point in there. That is 138. Aha, so that takes us past our 400 point that we were trying to get to. That takes us to what, 448, doesn't it? As our cumulative frequency. So the median is in the 50 to 56 class. At this point, we've got 2 of the 4 marks, but we need an estimate of where the median is within that class. Now, you could vary how exactly you're going to do this, but what we want is the start of the class is 310. We want the 400th apple. So we want 90 out of those 138 of the way through the class. So that the nicest way to construct this is we want to go from the 50 that's at the start of the class. We then want 90 138ths of the 6 that is the width of the class. And that will give us the point where the 400th apple is. Does that make sense? It's that the fraction of the class that we want is 90 138ths, and the width of the class was 6, so we want to go 90 138ths in that way. That gives you 53.9. However, what you could have done is you could have noticed that 138 is very, very close to being 1.5 times 90. In other words, we wanted to go 2/3 of the way through that class. 45, 90, 135. That 90 is 2/3 of that distance. So you could have thought we want to go 2/3 of the way from 50 to 56, which would be 54, and 54 would have been an acceptable answer to put down as the median. It works out very close anyway, doesn't it? So okay. And that's maths.